Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Georgetown Virtual Program Parent-Student Orientation. My name is Keith Price, and it's my honor to be standing before you this evening as Superintendent of Georgetown County Schools. Leading a new school district is an incredible experience, but when you add in a pandemic to the mix, it can become quite interesting. I know we are in uncertain times, and factors seem to be changing by the day. We announced our opening operating phase earlier this afternoon, and we will begin in a remote virtual operating phase on September 8th. As a result, those students who are not in the Georgetown virtual program like you will actually be starting with many similarities. While we have had experience with e-learning in the past, this program is intended to be very different. Our teachers will be delivering instruction with live and recorded sessions, and you will learn more later today in the presentation about the differences between synchronous and asynchronous activities. Students will be engaged in conversation with their teacher and their classmates while in a virtual format. Expectations will be high. Students will be expected to work. Grades will be given, and learning will move forward. This will be true throughout Georgetown County Schools, regardless of the option the student is enrolled in. As we prepare to begin in the Georgetown Virtual program, please remember that this is new for us just as it is new for you. You can expect bumps along the road as you would with any new program in its early stages. But please rest assured that we are committed to providing you and your student with a quality educational experience. As we identify things that are wrong, we will correct them. As we identify any communication breakdowns, we will address them. As we identify students who are not working successfully, we will engage with them to provide support to get them on track. As we move through this new learning opportunity together, we ask that you remain patient, remain flexible, expect bumps and challenges along the way, but stay committed, stay engaged, and ask questions along the way. Together, we can get through this pandemic, this temporary learning environment, and we can be stronger together when we are safely able to return to in-person instruction on a daily basis. Thank you for being here tonight to help ensure a successful launch for you and your students. After the presentation, we will have team members available to help answer questions that may not have been covered by the presenters. This session is being recorded and broadcasted for those unable to be here in person, so we thank those of you who are joining us in other ways. We will have a repeat of this presentation in a Facebook Live session at noon on Wednesday, August 12th. At this time, it's my pleasure to turn the presentation over to Ms. Gina Smith, who is the Executive Director for Innovation and Special Programs. Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Georgetown County families. Again, my name is Gina Smith, and I am the Executive Director for Innovations and Special Programs. We are so happy to have you here today. Our goals for this evening is to, first of all, share with you exactly what a virtual program looks like and what it's not. Also, we'll talk about the academic expectations that we'll have for your students and also for you as parents this year. In addition, we'll talk about scheduling for K2, 3-5, 6-8, and 9-12, which I'm sure you're waiting to hear what that looks like. In addition, we'll talk about the different services that we'll provide, which is very similar to the services that are being provided in our brick and mortar classrooms. Next, we'll talk about the expectations from our teachers, our principals, and also us, the district administrators. Next, we'll talk about the parent and student expectations, because it's our goal to work together so that we can finish strong as we work through this pandemic. Lastly, after the presentation is done, it's very important that while you're sitting there listening, that you start to jot down your questions. At the end of the presentation, you will be given an opportunity to ask questions, and our staff members will provide you with answers. Again, we're very excited to have you here, and we hope that you enjoy. At this time, I'd like to present to you our virtual program coordinator, Ms. Angela Rush. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ms. Angela Rush, and I am the virtual program coordinator. So parents, you want to know, what is the virtual program? So I'm going to give you an outline of what it looks like. The program will be taught by certified Georgetown County School District teachers. It will be 100% online learning for the fall semester. The students will have face-to-face virtual instruction, but no in-person interaction. Classes and course options will include grade-level South Carolina standards and content, and will provide social, emotional support across all K through 12 grade levels. Again, all lessons will be live and recorded. All lessons will be live and recorded. There will be a daily schedule, consistent grading, regular teacher-class interactions over the virtual platforms. Grading will be consistent with in-person traditional practices, the same type of practices that they would get in a brick-and-mortar school. The Georgetown County School District virtual program, school's calendar, will be the same as the traditional calendar for all students. So the same calendar that brick-and-mortar students will be following will be the same calendar that your virtual program students will be following. The students will have the ability to participate in extracurricular activities. I know that was one big question. They will have the opportunity to participate in extracurricular activities as permitted by COVID community spread. Another big question is, what is it not? You know, when we were in the spring and we were doing e-learning, parents had a lot of questions about what is the difference. So let's look at this. Virtual learning is not e-learning. In the spring, the district used the e-learning format where, you know, the kids sometimes got packets. Some of their sessions may have been active, some may not have been. However, in the virtual program, the students will have live, interactive, recorded lessons throughout the week. And I will talk more about what those will look like when I get to the scheduling component. Students will have a set schedule. They will learn face-to-face video lessons again. They will use platforms such as Google Meets, as well as Zoom. And all of their assignments and assessments will be done through online learning platforms. So the lessons will be done through both synchronous and asynchronous means. So you're wondering, what does that mean? If it is synchronous, those are the times when the children will be online, having interactive communication with their classmates as well as the teacher. It is where they're looking at each other face to face and doing lessons as they would in the classroom, only it would be virtual. Then you will have the asynchronous methods where the teacher will give lessons, the students will go online, they will complete the lessons, and they may not be looking face to face with the teacher when they're doing those lessons. That's when they will be returning emails, doing group activities through, let's say, surveying. So the synchronous is when it's live, interactive. Asynchronous is when they are working on their own or they're working in groups to get something done. If that can be one method of me showing you how different those two pieces are. So when I'm saying synchronous, think live and they're looking at the teacher and their classmates. When I'm saying asynchronous, know that it means that they're doing a group work or they're doing individual work away from the teacher, okay? Academic expectations for our K through 12 virtual program. Students will stay enrolled in their assigned school, but will be taught virtually by a certified teacher. The school that they're registered in, they will be assigned to that school still, even though they're in the virtual program. Students will receive schedules just like they do in the brick and mortar school. Most courses will be offered in the virtual program. Students interested in taking career and technology courses and electives that require hands-on instruction should see their school's guidance counselors for further information and course offerings. Those courses will be outlined at their schools and by their guidance counselors, and a little more will be discussed about that in today's presentation. Teachers, again, will utilize the South Carolina State Standards to design content and lessons for our students. The Google Classroom platform will be used throughout for students' learning activities, test dates, and upcoming lessons. Again, students will use Zoom, Google Meet, and other live sessions that will be scheduled in advance. The students will always know when they need to be on those live sessions. Students need to be active participants in class discussions and sessions designed to address social and emotional learning. Every grade span will have social and emotional learning components added to ensure that our children are getting more than just paper pencil work. We are very concerned that they have the opportunity to have social and emotional times within their learning process. Teachers will schedule tests and other graded activities through Google Classroom to ensure that they are proctored and secure. Students will be required to log into their Google Classroom courses each day. For each course, they are required to log in each day. Right now, we're going to look at a Google Classroom video. We want to give you a better idea of how your child is to log in, and you will have access to this information when this presentation is over.
Hi, this is Mark Burchett from Georgetown County School District, and we would like to show you how any student or teacher, for that matter, can log into their Google accounts from any device outside of Georgetown County School District. So if I'm home or away, again, and I have access to the internet, I can go ahead and open up a browser. We would suggest using Google Chrome. But again, you're going to open up a browser and you're going to come to google.com. Once you're here, you'll notice that over on the right there is a box that says sign in. I'm just going to click onto that, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and I may have to choose use another account if multiple people have logged into this. But this is where I'm going to enter my Georgetown County School District user ID. For students, that's going to be their last name, first name, and middle initial typically, followed by this, at live.gcs.k12.sc.us. So that's going to be the last part of their email to sign in. The first part is going to be just their Georgetown County School District username. So I'm going to type in a generic one for this. And then once I've typed in again my username for students followed by @live.gcsd.k12.sc.us, I'm going to hit next. And then it's going to ask me for my password. And for students, this is your password followed by those numbers. So I'm going to type in my password, and then I'm going to hit next. And you'll see I'm successful. It's going to show my initial up here. And here's the good part, is now I can go ahead and click on this waffle up here, and I can get access to any of my G Suite apps. So if I wanted to go to Google Classroom, I could just click on Google Classroom and head into my class, just like I normally would every single day. So again, hopefully this was helpful in showing you how to go to www.google.com, click on the sign-in options, and type in your username and your password in order to be signed into your Georgetown County School District Google account.
Again, the Google sign-in information will be available for you at the end of the presentation. We will have that available to you. Right now, we will have Dr. David Hamill, the Director of Assessment and Accountability. He will speak with you more about assessments and requirements.
GCSD families. My goal this evening is to give you a brief overview of the assessments your child will need to take to start the school year, and to share with you all the ways the Georgetown County School District is here to support you and your child as we work through these assessments together. As part of the CARES Act, all students in grades 1 through 9 are required to take a pre-assessment in reading and math no later than the first 10 days of the school year. Just this last week, the State Department of Education is now allowing these pre-assessments to be given virtually if certain requirements are met and in place. The plan you will see tonight allows your child to take these pre-assessments virtually and details the planning and preparation that are needed for this testing to go smoothly for your child. Let's begin by briefly looking at the steps you will need to complete prior to your child taking these assessments on September 10th and 11th. On the designated pickup days, please go by your child's assigned school to pick up his or her learning device and sign the required parent security agreement for testing. This must be signed in order for your child to test virtually at home. At this time, you can also pick up your child's classroom homeroom code, which will allow them to test, and other academic codes he or she will need to access their classrooms virtually. On this slide that you're about to see, we have the parent security agreement for you to view prior to coming into the school to sign it. If you are not planning on picking up a school district device, this agreement can be sent in electronically by you to your child's home school, and your class codes and other information will be communicated to you. Your child's teacher or guidance counselor can email you this security agreement for you to sign electronically in return. Your next steps, as Ms. Rush just outlined, will involve making sure your child can access their Google Classroom account, along with the necessary technical preparations that are needed to ensure a smooth testing process. Don't worry, beginning next week, we will release detailed instructional videos with visual illustrations and supporting documents to walk you through this process step by step. These resources will be placed on our district and school websites and will be available to parents prior to testing. Additionally, prior to our 2 virtual testing days, your child's teacher in school will be sending out reminders to you so that you can check your computer and make sure it is ready for testing. If you have signed up your child for one of our LEAP days, all of the steps and processes I just detailed for you will be completed on that day. Finally, in closing tonight, I want to share with you our 2 district-wide, all virtual testing days for grades 1 through 9. On Thursday, September 10th, all students in grades 1 through 9 will have the opportunity to take their math reading pre-assessment virtually during the school day. Testing will begin at approximately 8 a.m. for elementary school students and at approximately 9:30 a.m. for middle and high school students. On Friday, September 11th, all students in grades 1 through 9 will take their mathematics pre-assessment virtually with the exact same start times. An important note, if your child is unable to begin testing at those times, our teachers are going to be available during the duration of the school day, and test administrators will also be available for some extended hours in the evening after the regular school day has ended. However, if a student plans to start their test later in the school day or after school hours, we ask that he or she communicate with the teacher and test administrator through Google Classroom prior to testing so that this is a smooth and seamless process. Our teachers and school administrators will be looking for those students to sign in to test, and if they're going to start later, that way they're aware of what time to expect them. Throughout testing, students will be able to communicate with their homeroom teacher through the Google Classroom portal with real-time chat to begin testing, pause when needed, or ask any other pertinent questions. Again, detailed instructions with illustrations and supporting videos will be available describing these processes next week and will be placed on our district and school websites for parents and students. In closing, please know that our administrators and teachers are here to support you through every step of this journey. And together, we're going to provide the best education possible for your child while ensuring a safe environment for both our staff and our students.
We will now move to scheduling. Schedules will be created to simulate the brick and mortar schools as much as possible. Students should join the live sessions every day, and if they cannot, parents should inform teachers of the student's absence, just as they would during a normal school day. Instructional sessions will be recorded if a student cannot attend the live sessions. It is expected that students will attend the live learning sessions each day that they are assigned. Interactive sessions are created to ensure that the maximum learning environment for all students enrolled in the virtual program. So I'm going to talk about the K-2 schedule that you see here. Again, I want to draw your attention to the lime green highlighted areas. I want to draw your attention to the lime green highlighted areas. Those areas are times when the students will have live sessions. So we will see on this K-2 schedule 9 to 9:10, 9:10 to 9:30, 9:40 to 10:10, 10:15 to 10:50. All of those will be recorded, live, then recorded lessons. So if a child happened to miss or had an issue and could not be on the lesson during that time, the session will be recorded. I want to make sure parents know and understand that. Again, we have our sample 3 through 5 schedule. You have teacher planning at the beginning, but immediately after you will see the highlighted sessions. 8:50 to 9, 9 to 9:20, 9:30 to 10 o'clock, 10:30 till 11:30. Those are the live lessons that will be recorded for later use if parents would like to go back and see them. I will draw your attention to the 6 through 8 schedule. You will notice it looks different because our 6 through 8 and our 9 through 12 schedules are a little different because of the content and kids changing of courses. So we will see for this first period class, the on-video teaching time, meaning this is the time when the students must be on live. So 8 to 8:25, the students will be on live. And then 8:25 to 8:30, we see that the teacher will give specific learning. And then you will see at the very end, students work on their own in breakouts. And you will see that will follow suit, 9 to 9:25, 10 to 10:25, 11 to 11:25. And then they will have lunch. And then 1 to 1:25, then 2 to 2:25. Those are the live times where the lessons will also be recorded. We will see our high school daily schedule here, 9 through 12. Block 1 will be 9 through 10. Block 2, 10:15 to 11:15. Block 3, 12:30 to 1:30. And Block 4, 1:45 to 2:45. You will see that a lunch has been built in after Block 2. And again, at the very first part of each block will be a live lesson by the teacher. It will not be the entire hour. This will be scheduled by the teacher at the high school level. So probably from 9 to 9:25, 10:15, so probably 10, add a 20-minute time period. But the high school teachers have a little more flexibility because of the nature of the courses. Apex and Virtual SC. According to the number of virtual program students enrolled in some courses, the Apex learning system of Virtual SC may be utilized. For example, we plan to have as many courses as possible taught by Georgetown County School District teachers, live lessons every day. For those courses that may not have a large amount or a very minimal number of students, the students will have access to Apex courses. And what is Apex? Apex courses are self-paced courses where students will have a Georgetown County Certified Teacher of Record to assist them if they need tutorial sessions. The students are self-paced doing the work throughout the week. If they have questions about the learning, the content, or any of the modules, there will be a certified teacher in that area that they can contact to get tutorial sessions. That is APEX. Virtual SC, which I think most of us may be aware of, offers free, rigorous online courses aligned to state standards that are developed and taught by highly qualified South Carolina licensed teachers. This is through the South Carolina Department of Education. Again, it is self-paced for the most part in terms of what documents the teacher that has been assigned by the State Department has given those students. Let us move to special education services. All IEP and 504 accommodations will be implemented in the virtual program. IEP teams will meet to review accommodations and ensure students have the necessary accommodations to be successful in the virtual environment. All SPED students will continue to be served by SPED certified teachers. English Language Learner Services, or ELL. All ELL students will continue to receive services from ELL teachers, to include reader services and assessments. Gifted and talented. Our gifted and talented identified students will continue to receive services from certified teachers. Our advanced placement program. AP and honors courses will continue to be offered to the extent possible by our certified Georgetown County School District teachers, as well as courses that may be offered through APEX and South Carolina Virtual. We will have all of our AP courses covered through one of those three means. One of the live sessions through a Georgetown County virtual teacher, APEX, or virtual SC. So now we move to teacher and administrator expectations. Teachers, they will provide a virtual learning environment conducive to student learning to include appropriate visuals and manipulatives. They will provide live lessons, recorded lessons, assignments graded in an appropriate time frame, and assessments and evaluations. They will have a set parent conference time, but will also show flexibility when having one-on-one discussions with parents through phone calls, emails, and other forms of communication. The teachers will work together with their common grade planning partners. With teachers at their school, they will work together during planning time to develop lessons and activities. The administrators will maintain a positive school culture, observe the virtual learning classrooms as they would regular learning classrooms during instructional time. They will share feedback with district-level virtual team members to ensure that teachers and students' needs are met. Administrators will check lesson plans weekly, as they would as if the teacher were giving face-to-face lessons at school. Now we will move to parent and student expectations. For the parents, we would love for parents to create an environment conducive to learning, meaning like no loud noises, no interruptions, a space where kids have an active place to learn without interruption. They will ensure that students have access to a device, and if there is not a home device, the Georgetown County School District will have one that is available. And they must ensure that their students have the learning materials and supplies that are offered by the school that the child is registered at. They will ensure students have access to the internet. They will reply to district communication in a timely manner. They will ensure that they have the teachers, all of the teachers that are assigned to that child. They need to have those teachers' contact information. They will monitor PowerSchool Gradebook often. And students with their parents will create provide an environment conducive for learning, ensuring no loud music, no loud noises, and not anything that will take them away from a very fruitful learning environment. The students will be mindful of the care of the electronic device that they have from the school district or that was provided by their parents. Making sure that they are not damaged. Making sure that they write down their usernames and passwords for every program that a teacher may have them working within. It is very important that they keep their usernames and passwords safe throughout the process. They will participate in all live sessions and complete assignments by due dates. They will log in prepared. Every day they will log in prepared, paper, pencil, and any resources needed for the lesson. They will know due dates of assignments. They will follow the student and dress code of decorum as they normally would within a regular learning environment. They will also have their teacher's contact information. And before I move away from this slide, when we think back to scheduling, also know that Mondays and Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays will be those synchronous lessons. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays will be the synchronous lessons. On Wednesdays, however, will be a day of asynchronous lessons. On Wednesdays, it will be a day where they can do enrichment, have group breakouts, and maybe group lessons by their teacher. And I needed to make sure I said that to you. We will now have PowerSchool parent portal information provided to you by Ms. Jeanette Johnson, the director of that program.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to learn more about our Georgetown virtual program. We want to make sure you guys have everything that you need to be involved as parents, to monitor your students' progress, to make sure that they have everything that they need to stay on track and learn everything they need this year. Part of the parent expectations, many of you have already completed, is to complete that online registration. If you have already gotten a SNAP code, if you are a returning student to our district and completed the online registration, we hope you've already done that. If for some reason you haven't at this point, please contact your school as soon as possible to receive that SNAP code, or you can contact us at the district office. We have an email address listed up here, powerschool@gcsd.k12.sc.us, and we'll be happy to get you that as well. Anyone who may be a new student to our school district, you do not need a SNAP code. Just visit our district website and take care of that as soon as possible. That is a requirement, obviously, as we prepare to have that updated information for the year. The second piece that we are asking of our parents is to be a part of this parent portal. What a parent portal does for us is it allows us to monitor our students' schedules, their grades, their assignments, things that are their due dates of assignments, so you all can track your students' progress with the things that they'll be doing through virtual learning. If you've already had this previously, you'll know the benefit of having a single parent login. You can log in once and see all of your students' information on one login if you have multiple kids, even multiple schools. It will be expected that you are able to do this. To do this is pretty simple to sign up. You have two ways you can sign up. First, you can email that same email address, the PowerSchool email address. Please send us your name as a parent, your email address that we'll be using to contact you, then your students or students' names and their schools as well. All you have to do is send that information to us. We'll reply back to you through that email address and let you know your next steps as far as activating that account. That's all it takes to sign up. The other option for you to sign up is if you picked up the little half sheet flyer on the table tonight when you came in. There's a place there where you can fill out information, and we'll have boxes at both of the exits this evening where you can slide that paper in. And again, we'll be in contact with you via email with the email address you provide with your next steps to activate that portal. For those of you who have had the portal in the past, you are good to go. It's already set up for you. Please know that our portal will open back up where you can see your students' information on September 8th. So if you assume you've logged in before saying that we couldn't see our students, we have closed it over the summer, but that will open back up when the school year begins again, and probably a few days prior to, we try to get it open and going for you all. Any questions along the way, either for online registration or for parent portal, please shoot us an email at that email address, and we will be back with you very quickly Next, we hear from the Executive Director of Information Technology, Dr. Michael Powell.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, and good evening, everyone. I need to give everyone an update with regards to information technology as it relates to Georgetown County School District. This first slide here depicts the hours of operation for any type of support Monday through Friday from 4:30 to 8 p.m. in the evening. So this is the phone number. If you have any problems, experience any type of technical issues or issues with information technology, please give us a call, let us know what's going on. And if we don't pick up, please leave a voicemail, we'll give you a call right back. Okay, next slide, please. Right now, just where we are with the hotspot project, all 4 high schools have hotspot access in the parking lots from 7 a.m. in the morning to 7 p.m. in the evening. We're going to follow suit with 4 elementary schools, which we're currently working on right now, with the same type of hotspot provision. So we have 4 high schools, and we're also going to achieve wireless access at 4 elementary schools as well. Next slide, please. Working with our business partners, working with our community partners, this is just an updated list, a snapshot that is growing by the day of partners that are available in our community so that they can spread the wealth with wireless access as well. We have community centers, we have churches, and we have business partners like HTC that are provisioning hotspot wireless access within our parking lots. This is all that I have concerning where we are with information technology, and we'll be publishing more information as we progress. And right now I'll be followed by Mrs. Gina Smith.
Thank my colleagues, or our colleagues, for all of their hard work. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you all so much. You've done an awesome job. And at this point, we're going to wrap up. Before we wrap up, we want to go over a few things that our virtual students, and not just students, but also our parents need to know. Ms. Johnson has already addressed this, but it's so important that not only have you enrolled for a virtual program, that second step, and probably more importantly, is to make sure you do that online registration, which requires a SNAP code. So if you have not done that, please make sure you get that done as soon as possible, because that's very important that we have the updated information for your child. Secondly, as a virtual student, we are very proud to announce that lunch will be available for you. But here is the catch here. You will have to pick up the lunch. If students are unable to accompany their parents, parents will need to bring proof of registration to the school in which they're enrolled. That's very important that you keep that in mind. We are still working on times for distribution, but that will be available to each student that is enrolled. Now, for our elementary students, at this time, every elementary school student is receiving free lunch, so there is no cost. But if you're attending any other schools, whether a middle and a high school, if it's not a CEP school and you're not a part of the free and reduced lunch status, then there will be a price attached to that, and we'll make sure we post that on the website once we announce the dates for you. Next, the school supply list was another question that was asked. You will utilize the school supply list that's already on the district's website for your current school in which you're enrolled. Those are the supplies that you actually purchase as we continue with this virtual program. It is our hope, parents and also students, that by January we will be back to normal, and then we'll be able to attend school. So we want to make sure you already have your supplies in advance in the event that we are ready to go back to face-to-face, better known for Georgetown County as Prime. Next, the courses. It's very important also, and we're going to show a few courses that you need to really consider as you're looking at your schedule. Guidance counselors are critical, especially for our high schools. We need to make sure that as you're looking at first semester, that the courses that you've selected fits the virtual program. We are providing the opportunity for you to take courses that may not have a virtual component, but will require a face-to-face interaction with teachers. And here we have some of those listed. It's not an exhaustive list, but some of the key pieces here are like courses like welding, cosmetology, horticulture. Those are very important that you look at those lists, or the list that we have here, to make sure that this fits. If it doesn't fit, you may want to ask your guidance counselor, can I move this to the second semester so that it will accommodate you? If not, we are asking that you meet with your guidance counselors to make sure that we're able to make those special accommodations as necessary. Our next, going back to our slides for things you need to know, we need to make sure that we are very clear on our departure date. The commitment for virtual program is from September 8th until January the 24th. It's very important, parents, that we do our very best to commit to that time. If we're unable to commit to that time, we are going to handle that on a case-by-case scenario. But for staffing and also for enrollment, it's very important that we do our best to commit to that one semester. Placements of students. Parents have asked the questions, will my child be with their friends? We're going to do our best to keep the schools together, but keeping in mind, because of enrollment, that we will have students that will be from all across the district. So we're going to work very hard to keep your students together, but it's very important that you understand that the students that will be in those classes will be from across the district as we try to utilize our staffing in the best manner that we know at this particular time. The number of students in each class will be up to 25. So we're going to cap it at 25. Extracurricular activities. As you well know, here in Georgetown County, we believe in the fine arts. We believe in making sure that our students are well-rounded citizens. So yes, your students or your students or your children will be able to participate in extracurricular activities such as clubs, sports, such as different types of activities, student council, however it might be. Remember, you are a part of a home school, and those opportunities are available to you. So as you're looking at your schedule, and say, for instance, if there is a meeting that's taking place during your last block class, you need to make sure that you're communicating with your teacher to ensure that she or he can help you work around your schedule. Dates for pickup. Device pickup, textbooks, any type of instructional materials, we have 2 dates slated. September 1st will be our first pickup date from 8 until 3. September 1st, you will report to your school that you're registered at and pick up your devices and any other textbooks or instructional materials. And also September 2nd, from 12 until 6, you'll have an opportunity to pick up your materials. And in your bag, you should have things such as your Google Classroom code, if you've forgotten that, the agreement that Dr. Hamill has discussed, and anything that you need in order to get started for the school day. Lastly, the question is, what's the last date that you can drop from the virtual program? August 14th is the last date for you to have your name removed from the program. If you're going to have your name removed from the program, you must email us at gcvirtual@gcsd.k12.sc.us. For those of you who will remain in the program, you will receive a confirmation letter after August 14th stating that you are fully enrolled and that you are up and ready to go. I also want to share with parents, as you continue with this journey of the virtual program, Mr. Price, our superintendent, has stated very clearly, we're all learning this together, and so we will need your patience. In the event that there is an issue or a concern, we're asking that you start with your teacher. Ask the teacher to help you with whatever it is that might be a challenge or of a concern for you. If there is not a solution that takes place there, then we're going to ask that you actually move to us. And when I say us, that means me as the virtual program supervisor, and we'll try to sort through any concerns that you may have. But here again, this is a team effort, and we're definitely in this together. At this time, I know you probably have been waiting for this moment, which is very important. I'm going to also address this slide here. Dr. Powell mentioned tech support. begin at 4:30 until 8, Monday through Friday. It's his job to take care of anything that's technology-wise, such as how do I get onto Google Classroom? My hotspot is not working, how do I connect? The next level of support is instructional support, and that will take place between myself, Gina Smith, and also Mrs. Rush. You can email us, and also you have my phone number where you can call me in the event that you are having a struggle between 4:30 and 8. And if we are not available, if you leave a message, we'll be sure to respond to you. So for the moment we all have been waiting for, the question and answer segment. And I think it looks like we have everybody in the auditorium, am I correct? And if so, I am going to give some directions. If you have a question, we're asking that you exit to the left. You're going to come down the middle aisle. You're going to stand at the mic where Mrs. Bombick is. You're going to state your question, and either myself or our colleagues that are seated here will answer for you. If you are watching Facebook Live, we're asking that you post your questions in the live chat, or the chat feature. And what I will do on Wednesday, I will actually start off in the Q&A answering your questions. If there are no questions at this time from our audience, we're going to ask you, if you have a question, please exit to the left and come down the middle aisle. Exit to the left and come down the middle aisle. Mr. Price, it looks like we've done a good job here. We have one here. Exit to the left and come down the middle aisle. Mrs. Bombick will hold the mic, and you will speak into the mic. And I'm going to hold the mic for those of us who will be responding to the questions.
My first question is along the lines, you said they have live and recorded sessions. For the recorded sessions, when will they be available? Is that going to be a couple of days later, the same day? Because if my child misses the class, when will he or she be able to view it and then get back on track with the work?
Okay, very good question. So her question is, once the lessons have been recorded, when will it be available? I am going to say after 4 p.m. Our teachers are actually collaborating with each other to decide on which videos actually turn out to be the best. And so if you'll give us until 4:30 p.m., those recorded lessons will be available for you.
Okay. Do we ask that? Do I ask the others, or do I just come back and on?
You can ask it now.
Okay. And I think my last question was, we talked about turnaround response times. So like when I'm working in IT or anything like that, we normally have a service level agreement, like an SLA. So if I respond to you, if I send an email, like back in 24 hours, 48 hours, so there's times that my daughter has gone through homebound, and it takes a couple days to get some responses. So my question is along the lines of, when can we expect a response back via email or something along those lines?
Very good question also. So for response time, we're going to ask that our teachers, and not just our teachers, we're talking about administrators also, return your response back within 24 hours. In the event that you do not receive a response, and I'm speaking to the public, you're more than welcome to email us at gcvirtual@gcsd.k12.sc.us, and we'll be sure to respond within 24 hours in our main portal for virtual program.
Okay. And this is my last one along the lines of the tutor, I'm sorry. So I have a child that's gifted and talented, she's taking AP and those type of courses. How do I ensure that she's getting the instruction she needed for those particular courses? I know you said you had some people that will be doing those based on the teacher status. My concern is along the line of tutoring and things that we need questions after that, after the initial lesson.
Okay, all right, very good. So whenever you go back and review the PowerPoint, you'll notice that, say for instance, I'm assuming your child is in high school because you mentioned AP. Every high school is on a block schedule, which that means that's a 90-minute course. If you observe the schedule, we have it in like hour increments. So after the actual instruction has taken place, the teachers will remain online for small group instruction. Also on Wednesdays will be a day for learning for small group, for enrichment, for catching up on assignments. So those times will be available. In the event your child needs additional help after those times, I would definitely request that you email the teacher, and I'm sure that he or she will set up a time for you guys to meet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Sharon Winley. My first question is, what if my son's name wasn't on the list? I registered him for virtual, but he was not on the list.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask that you do, Mrs. Winley, if you'll see me after the presentation, we'll get your name down and we'll make sure that we confirm that it wasn't maybe missed. And I'm sure you're referring to the sign-in, when you sign in. Okay, the list that was out front when you came in was only for the first 150 parents who registered. We have 4,062 students that are registered. So, Mrs. Winley, I'm sure your name is on that list somewhere. It just didn't meet the cutoff. Okay, but I'm checking in after the session.
My next question is, if someone did not register the child or didn't meet the deadline, is it too late?
To answer your question, we have started a waiting list. And at this point, the answer is yes, it's too late. But if we have someone that drops, because we wait on that cutoff time of August 14th, there could be a possibility, but we can't promise you anything.
Okay. My next question is, will the virtual teachers have planning period?
Absolutely, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. And if you refer back to our PowerPoint when you get a moment, the planning period for our elementary teachers is at the start of the day. That's why we start at 8:50 or 9 o'clock. Our middle school, I can't remember the time for their planning, but every grade level will have a planning period. That's very important. You're welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Winley. Ms. Humes.
My name is Teresa Humes. I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
If your child is in the middle of the session and because of bad weather, they're disconnected, what would be their next step?
Okay, so if they are disconnected, the first thing I would do is I would reach out to our tech support to make sure it's nothing on your end. Now, if it's a bad weather issue, keep in mind we are recording the lessons. So, yes, ma'am. So as I stated with a parent who came up earlier, I would definitely check after 4:30 for the uploading of the pre-recorded lesson.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome, Ms. Hughes.
Hello, my name is Samantha. I have two questions. The first is, I noticed that you said that if for some reason they can't get to a live lesson to notify their teachers. However, I know that some students might have like a truancy issues, or if there's a case of a serious illness, do you just have the doctor fax their homeschool with notes, or what do you do in those instances?
Okay, so first I would start with the teacher. Notify the teacher of your situation. In addition to notifying the teacher, yes, I would definitely have your doctor to give you a note that will cover your attendance, because that's a very good question. We will be taking attendance every day. Even on Wednesdays, we may not be physically interacting, but we'll be able to tell if you uploaded or you interacted with the Google Classroom. So start with the teacher. Communication is key. As long as we're communicating, I think we will be able to protect families or students from the truancy. Okay.
And then my second question was I noticed this semester is from September 8th to January 24th.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be an option for parents to be able to extend the virtual learning from there if they feel like that's what they need?
Absolutely. Another great question. In November, parents, you will receive a survey basically helping us to start planning for semester 2. And that's going to basically say, you know, what's your intentions? Not locking you in, but helping us plan as we plan for semester 2. So yes, ma'am, you will have an option.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
My name is Jarvis Turner from Cartersville High.
Yes, ma'am.
On the district, it said there were 2 other models, like three models, and there were 2 others. One was virtual, a hybrid, and I forget the name of it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Are we still doing those or no?
Yes, sir. So option 1 consists of 3 phases, which is the first one is remote. That's if we are, as far as the DHEC metrics, high with the COVID spread. Second option is hybrid. That means 2 days face-to-face, 3 days remote, if we're in the medium spread. And then the ultimate phase, that's where we're all trying to get to, is the prime phase, which is 5 days of face-to-face instruction. Option 2 is the virtual program, in which we just presented to you. And today, Mr. Price made his announcement in regards for how we're going to start our school. And we're going to have him at the closure to re-announce that, if that's okay, Mr. Price.
Can do it now.
Want to do it now? Okay, yes, sir.
I can't hold it down. All right, I'm going to keep my mask on too. So yeah, to answer your question as Ms. Smith was explaining, there are 2 options. One is the all virtual option, which is what's been outlined here. So regardless of the rate of spread in our county, students that sign up for this program will be in all virtual learning for the entire first semester. The other option is the phase-in option. And so that depends on what our risk rating is at that time. And so we looked at our risk rating today that came out from DHEC, and we are high risk across the board. We were hoping for some improvement in those areas, but we didn't see that. So while we are at high risk, that phase that we're in for the other option is remote. So the students that will be starting that aren't in this program, they'll be starting in remote phase that will be very similar to what's been outlined here. There will be some differences, but it'll be very similar. But if conditions improve, they won't stay in that phase. They'll move into the next phase is hybrid. And so that means that students will be put into one of 2 groups, either A group or B group. And those students will come to school 2 days per week for in-person instruction, and they'll be doing remote or virtual instruction for 3 days a week. And then if our ratings and our risk category really improves, and it changes from high risk all the way down to low risk, then we would move to the ultimate stage, which is prime, which is 5 days a week, all day long, in-person instruction, just like we were before we ever learned or heard about COVID. So those are the 2 options. One is this for the entire semester. The other option is the phase-in option. It depends on our rate of risk according to DHEC. Does that answer your question? Thank you. And as Ms. Smith shared, we did announce our opening operating phase earlier today based on our latest DHEC reports, and we are opening in a remote phase for those students not in this option. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samantha Vereen. My first question is about the leap days.
Mr. Cohen? And you can start.
Okay, it was about leap days. I was under the impression that we needed to go ahead and register our kids for leap days so we could get the pre-assessments and stuff done. But now it looks like this is saying they can do it later, September 10th and 11th. So I just want to make sure, clarify, do we need to just go ahead and let them do it those leap days or take it in September?
Mr. Cohen, he's over late.
Mr. Collins is
Can you defer it to him? Okay, all right, okay.
Yes, ma'am. If your child is able to go to the leap days, all the computer setups, all your passcodes, all your logins will be given to them. They'll complete at least one of those assessments, and if they're able to complete both of them, that will be done. If they don't go to the leap days, we'll have an offer for them to do them virtually on the 10th and the 11th as a backup plan, but if they go to leap days, that will all be taken care of.
Just to clarify, LEAP is not mandatory. LEAP is mandated by the state, and we must offer it in Georgetown County School District. It's not mandated for students to actually attend it. We would love to have them. We would love to have 100% participation, but as a parent, that's your choice.
My next question was about the platforms that they'll be teaching on. I heard Google and Zoom and everything, so my question is, will they be just putting their assignments, posting assignments in Google Classroom? Or will they actually get some virtual there?
Okay, so very good question. So Google Classroom will be our main platform for storing assignments. Also, that's where you'll make your announcements, like there's a Zoom meeting coming up, and you'll have the link there, but there's a Google Meet coming up. It'll also be there. And for our grades K2, we're also, there you go, we're providing Seesaw for those children. All right, does that answer your question? Okay, awesome, thank you, Mrs. Vereen. All right, are there any more questions?
Hi, I have 3 questions. My first question is, for students that have the IEP as well as a 504, how are they going to accommodate those students as well as for things like with speech or occupational or physical therapy, being that this is a virtual program?
We're working now on teletherapy. We will also bring some students in to do one-on-one, if it's OT or PT. Okay, if it's speech, they're being trained now in teletherapy.
My next question is, how do they accommodate those hours within a block schedule if the student is there for a high school student?
What we're doing now, we're looking at, we just received the schedule. So we're setting up the schedules now, and the teachers will meet with that child and set it up within that block, because it still would be within that block, if it's math or ELA.
My next question is for how and if, I know as far as the fall, the flu is already coming back. We already see that. That poses a problem with COVID-19. What plans are in place in case there is a breakout within the school for those students that are doing the hybrid program?
That's a great question, and one of the things that we have learned from our friends in the medical field is that with the consistent use of masks and social distancing and the reduction in the number of students in a building at the same time, that they're anticipating a positive impact with flu cases, that the more that we're protecting and being safe, that we'll see a decline in the number of flu cases. But our way of monitoring that and responding to that will be no different than how it has been in the past. So anytime there's a case, we monitor that. Our school nurses will be prepared to respond to that, just like they're going to be trained and prepared to respond to any student who may show up who's experiencing symptoms. So they're going to be screened. There are very specific procedures that they will follow. And DHEC has some very specific guidelines about when you look at closing a classroom, when you look at closing a school, and as far as the metrics go. So that will continue this year, in addition to watching out for COVID-like symptoms.
Okay, because a lot of the symptoms mirror each other. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
You're
How are
exactly
they
right.
going to be able to distinguish one from the other?
One of the things that we're going to be doing whenever, and again, this is laid out very clearly in the training for our nurses. And I'm not a trained nurse, so I'm going by what I remember reading, okay? Nurse Tucker, if she was here, she could verify this for us. But one of the things that's going to happen whenever students show symptoms of COVID, and you're exactly right, so many of those symptoms mirror other illnesses, that there's going to be referrals that are made to doctors through telehealth services. And doctors will determine whether or not a COVID test is required or necessary, or if that symptom or that illness can be explained by something else. So our friends in the medical field, like with Tidelands Health and others, are working very closely with all of our nurses about how to have really quick response time as these referrals are going to be coming in. So we're going to be monitoring it very closely. We have very specific guidelines that we have to follow from DHEC and the CDC. So we'll be ready for that whenever day one comes, that we return to any type of in-person instruction, whether it be hybrid or prime.
And then my next question, as far as the elementary school, those that were being tested for gifted and talented, some of us did not get those scores. So how do we find out those scores, bringing them into the upcoming school year?
So that actually comes out of my office. And so if you have not received any results, I'm going to ask that you contact our office at 436-7036. And as a matter of fact, after the program, if you'll come to me, I'll get your name and we'll follow up on that for you. Okay, thank you, we appreciate you. Are there any other questions? Okay, all right, this has been a pleasure. I hope that this has been a very informative session for you. We invite you on Wednesday at noon if you're interested to watch again, and there may be some other questions answered that we did not answer tonight. Again, we look forward to working with you, and I'm going to ask that Superintendent Price, if you will give us some closing words as we depart.
I want to thank you again for being here tonight and for trusting us in the next step of your educational experience. As Mrs. Smith and so many others have already said, we're committed to making this a quality experience for you. And it may not be great out of the gate on day one, but by day two, we're committed to making it better than day one. And week two will be better than week one, and so on and so on and so on. And as you experience things that may not seem right, if you bring it to our attention, we're committed to working it out, because we are committed to giving you a quality experience. And we want to make this the best that we can, and we ask, remember that to remain flexible and to be patient with us. But hopefully this is a temporary situation, that the conditions out in our community will improve, and we will be back to regular types of instructional experiences in the near future, but only when it's safe to do so. So we thank you for partnering with us along this journey, and we're committed to getting through this together. Thank you very much for being here this evening, and if you have any other questions, our team members will be waiting along the sides and the edges if you'd like to come up and ask a private question. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.